Hello and welcome to the Pet Room. David Bradley here. Here are some of the Commodore relics that I have lined up here. The t-shirt on the very left is the one that I was wearing on the December 1984 um, issue of the Toronto Pet Users Group magazine. Originally called the TORPET, but then it became T-Pug magazine. And anyway, there are many stories to be told about all of that. Needless to say, if you're involved in an organization, a club of sorts, it is never good to have anybody who essentially owns the name to part of the club, such as TORPET. It just isn't. So, anyway, keep that in mind. There are many organizations that run into all sorts of troubles because of personalities and things, and there will always be people who try and take advantage, especially when there is the hint of money sniffing around. Um, it reminds me of charity things, and usually they're things that maybe get thrown together quickly because of some government decision where somebody suddenly jumps on board like, yeah, we got to stop this. And then they, put their life on hold and somehow expect the community to then finance their life as they fight for the community, even though the fight may not go well. Meanwhile, local politicians often, they stay silent because they don't want to upset the other levels of government. And these things go on and on and on and on and on. Anyway, just be careful when you're getting involved in organizations and clubs and things. And God help you, don't ever get involved in a pyramid scheme. There are so many of them out there. Multi-level marketing, where the emphasis is not buying things or selling things. The emphasis on signing up more people. When you hear that, and when they say, oh, yes, you must come to the meeting and be indoctrinated, and oh, it's only business is higher, and all this other crap to make you feel good. It's a pyramid scheme. Stay away. Anyway, so, yes, T-Pugs, Torpet, etc., etc., etc. Much kerfuffle went on way back in the day. Anyway, next to that shirt there are two Commodore hockey jerseys. One of them, I remember I saw an ad and I was like, I gotta go. And I drove from Toronto to Oshawa. I was like, I gotta get this. I don't remember it was the blue one or the white one. But it ends up some years later, I found the other one, and they're not the same number, but they were from the same hockey league where they had the great big Commodore logo. Oh, sorry, the blue one is being hidden by the phone, but it's the same. And then, of course, is the shirt from House of Computers, which was on Eglinton Avenue in Toronto. And we never bought a computer from there, but we would get discs from there. And discs were incredibly expensive at the time. A box of 10, especially for the ones we needed for the bulletin board, I think it was something like $79.99. And they were verbatim discs, and they were quad density. I think they had purple labels. But it was what we needed to do. It was. And we needed them to run the board. We also needed to make backups. And it's funny, with discs that run in a bulletin board, if you run them for a while, you can see, like if you look at the one side, you know that they've been in there. There are lines and things and stuff, especially around the directory thing. Like the discs are literally wearing thin. So you must be careful out there. I'm not sure if you can see up there, but also there's a little Hagrid figure. There is. And when my hair was darker, I was often referred to as Hagrid or Hagrid, as the case may be. Up above, there is the oldest pet I have, and I have not really tinkered on it, but I need to. And in front of us here, there are, I guess, 3 chiclet pets, but there are some others around. Anyway, I really need to, and I guess I should get on it, where I get at them all, figure them all. And I know that they are highly prized in the world, and that I should make get as many as I can working. and figure out whatever else I have. And of course, always I've got to keep one. And you know what? It'll probably be the one way up at the top with the blue bezel. And it's funny, down farther, but you can't see, I have a blue bezel pet. It has a large keyboard, but I think there was an upgrade kit at one point because the chiclet keyboard was useless. So you could change out basically the middle section of the pet with a keyboard that was like a keyboard, like what came on most of the pets for a long time. And that one too does not work, but it has a blue bezel. So anyway, we'll see. In the midst of things, of putting things all together and sorting things, I'm sure, much like any sort of fleet operation with fleet vehicles, things will get swapped here and there, and I'll do my best to keep things as original as possible. But, things happen. They do. So I'm not sure what else you can see. Oh, there's another row of pets back there. There's pets off to the side. There's pets everywhere. This is indeed the pet room. And there's stacks here. Oh, look. There's a little booklet for a cassette drive. The C2N. I don't know how they came up with these designations. What do we have here on the pile? Oh, yes. It's a transactor. Simulations and modeling. This one. Oh, an ad for CompuServe. Who did this one go to? Oh, this one, according to the mailing label, was sent to Indeed. Richard Bradley. Can you imagine? The Transactor, produced by Carl Hilden and others, but mostly Carl Hilden, had the best covers, the absolute best covers. These were works of art. Magnificent. Glorious things. Oh, yeah. And here, when I was talking about, keep track of, make sure nobody owns the name TORPET. Here, and I've talked about this already at some point in the video. If you search, you can find it. Here is perhaps the last issue of the TORPET. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. But it changed from Toronto Pet Users Group to Today's Oceanic Research Program for Education and Training. And there's a boat, a ship in the boat. Anyway, this was an absolute disaster. But here are the happy recruits in their Dickie D uniforms. I wonder whatever became of them. But anyway, the idea was there was this whole thing. It was just to go around the world and have all these displays and things, and it was just, it was either a scam or it was a well-intentioned just disaster. And it was, the fellow who did it was, he's died not long ago. He had a bunch of school buses buried so we could all be ready for Armageddon, which hopefully will never come to be. But as one fellow who I knew through TPUG once said that, well, he's got his, buried, thing that to survive Armageddon, and now it's like Noah's Ark. Anyway, look, this is a big book for the Commodore 128. That is a big, thick book. It is. System guide. It's nice that they started to produce things that were of significance, because the very first manual that came with the pet ever was mighty tiny. Actually, I have one over here. It's actually, it might even be as small and as tiny as the guide for the C2N, for the whole machine. I can't reach it right now, but it's pretty tiny. Pretty tiny. But that's what it was way back when. Anyway, there is also a vintage phone up there. That is not something that was ever used. A black phone. It was never used on a bulletin board. I believe that phone belonged to my great-great-grandparents. Or great-grandparents. Let me think about that. Probably great-grandparents. And over next, which you can't really see just by the House of Computers thing, is one of the Commodore phones that came with the VIC modem. And they are still, well, they were always intriguing, and they are highly prized today. They are. And all it is it's a regular phone. It just says Commodore on the front. It does. And it has a dial. And yes, that's the sound of a phone dial. Oh, this is much older. And I don't know. No, those newer phones, they had a good sound to them, but not nearly as good as. It's funny, way back when we would go up to the cottage, my grandmother was there. It was before everybody, and I don't remember when this stopped, before everybody had their own line. So they had a party line of all things. And different people had different rings. And I don't know how many people were on the party line, but you always had to be careful that somebody somewhere else wasn't listening in, because I think we were 2 longs and a short, and that meant the phone call was for us. But there were a bunch of people on the party line, which of course also meant that, if somebody got a call at 3 a.m, it woke up everybody on the party line. I should have asked my grandmother when she was alive, when did this stop? Maybe I could Google it and find out when party line sort of went away. Anyway, it was just part of the magic of the old times. This would have been late 60s, early 70s, but I do remember my grandmother dialing the phone. I do. And there was always a big thing about, oh my God, long distance! Because, of course.
Battery low.
Oh. Okay, so my plan of running this thing dead here, the speaker is going well, because the battery is low. Good stuff.
Power on.
Well,
Bluetooth mode.
I didn't turn it off. What's going on here?
Bluetooth connected.
It can't be connected. I am confused. I don't think there's anything around that would have the Bluetooth connected. Oh well. Whatever. Anyway, I'll let these things run dead, as I said, so I can charge them and then use them. Anyway, back.
Low.
Oh, shush. I think I'll turn you off now. There. We don't need to hear that, because we know the battery is going to run dead. Anyway, oh yes. The magic of growing up in olden times of party lines, horrible long-distance fees, which of course led to the punternet, which is where bulletin boards could call other bulletin boards that were local and bounce messages to other boards to cut down on long-distance charges. Quite brilliant, quite wonderful. And if there was actually a long-distance thing that was necessary, there was a whole lot that could be transferred in a very short time. So calls were minimal. Generally, way less than a minute. And they would happen in the middle of the night when rates were as low could be. Ah, yes. Those were the days. Ah, yes. Anyway, I could tell the story about how House of Computers got nailed for copying not just the discs from Sublogic's Flight Simulator, but the whole manual, and the manual was huge. So it must have been quite an endeavor. Hopefully they made a lot of money, because eventually, of course, they got caught. I think it wasn't long after that House of Computers went bust. I think. And indeed, there are rumors that there were people at Commodore who were involved. Probably in the disk duplication side of things. Maybe, possibly. Oh, the lingering mysteries of long ago times. All right, let's see here. Anything else to talk about at this moment? Hey, Google, what time is it?
It's 10:34 a.m.
Okay. I still have some time before the dentist, but I should get myself together, take some medication, and go and see what's what. So thanks for coming to the pet room. We'll see you again soon. Undoubtedly, there'll be all kinds of things happening here. And it's funny, as I just had a thought that, the table in front of me here that has all these machines of all the such stuff. Basically, there's 4 big tables in here. I've really got to get as many of them as possible ready to be not just display things, but to have things worked on. And this table here, although it is plastic, you got to be careful, especially with hot soldering irons, but I can do it. And I could basically have this rolling chair that I can just roll from one thing to another. But I do have to put some things other places. I do. Anyway, thanks for coming to the pet room. Have a lovely, lovely, lovely day, and stay tuned as the projects continue. Bye for now.